7 decades ago, in March 1940, the author John Steinbeck and his friend marine biologist Ed Ricketts sailed down the coast of California and Mexico to the Sea of Cortez. The abundance of life here gives one an exuberance, they wrote, a feeling of fullness and richness. Their stated purpose was to document the creatures that inhabit shallow waters and tide pools on the margins of the Sea of Cortez. But it became much more. In these mysterious phosphorescent waters, they sought an understanding of mankind's relationship to the natural world and a wellspring of hope for a world headed toward war. Looking beyond the events of the day, the two friends foresaw our rising impact on the oceans and the devastating impact that overfishing would have on this rich sea. And yet, in their journey, they encountered a periodic cooling of the eastern Pacific, known as La Niña, that can still set off an explosion of life. Can the story of their journey inspire new efforts to preserve the Sea of Cortez?
I live in southern Indiana, where I serve as a chief scientist on a small engineering company, and this is my second ride on the Seabird. This seems to be a rather calm sea as they go. We currently seem to be headed towards Santa Catalina Island in the Sea of Cortez, and we've just seen a pod of dolphins. Everybody was very excited, and of course everybody was clicking their cameras, and there was almost 100% attendance toward the bow of the boat, and a brief feeding frenzy of brown pelicans and boobies, gulls.
Now there's a little bit more activity at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. So the schools of bait fish are moving around.
We've always enjoyed the National Geographic Lindblad tours.
Today we are at the island San Francisco. We are taking a hike through the salt pan and looking for creatures at low tide. And now I'm on a climb to the hilltop to get a view of the bay. It was a fascinating trip so far.
This is Isla San Francisco. It is a small island in the Sea of Cortez and has a beautiful, beautiful beach. And so it's perfect for snorkeling, for soaking in some sun, for some hiking, and best of all, photography, which is what we're here to do. It's been great. We've seen a number of islands. We've had some great photographic opportunities. We photographed wildlife. We photographed landscapes. We've visited a beautiful, beautiful hacienda with beautiful sunrises and sunsets. So it's been a photographic journey par excellence.
So when you're out here on some of these Gulf islands, like here on Isla San Esteban, there's not a whole lot of species out here, but the ones that are here are unique. They evolved only on this island. We call that being endemic to an island. Here on San Esteban, there's 2 large iguanid species, the spiny-tailed iguana and the large piebald chuckwalla. Having 2 large iguanas on one island is pretty unusual. And so these islands, because they don't have any predators, the animals do different things. And so we call that ecological release, where the chuckwallas come out of the rocks and they live in the arroyos side by side with the spiny-tailed iguanas, which are usually pretty aggressive species. A strange situation to see a chuckwalla living right next to a spiny-tailed iguana and all of them being so calm around one another. So I always loved lizards growing up as a kid, and You just couldn't keep me out of the hillsides and creeks and so forth. So being able to study lizards for my entire life is, I think, is a really good luck charm that I've always had, studying the animals you love.
Looks stark, but the variety of reptiles that we've seen, the birds, plants, and the adaptations those plants make or create for their environment that they live in is fabulous. I mean, the people on the trip have been so knowledgeable. The variety is amazing, and it's something I hadn't expected, but it's been beautiful.
I came to Baja California and I discovered that this place that was referred to in Ray Cannon's book as the richest sea in the world deserved that name.
Oh my God, 4. Wow, 7, 8, 9.
It's awesome, just letting you know. Long hike. A very long hike up the mountain.
Normally, if you're lucky, you'll get a pair of 2 that are really, really friendly, and it's a mom and a baby. Mom and a baby. Calf.
I think the kids are loving it, the adults are loving it.
Little plastic bottle, nylon stocking, a weight.
The importance of showing this kind of wildlife to young visitors is that a lot of times it's things you just can't see with the naked eye.
It's been a special trip for me, having my own kids on board and having them share these experiences with the rest of the families. And I can only hope that these kinds of experiences, both for my kids and for all the families on board, help culture a real love of the natural world that gets deep into their cells, that it lays the foundation for becoming our planet's future stewards. They are our most precious natural resource, and bringing them here to a place like Baja, it lays the foundation for the future of our planet, I feel.
My wife has always loved and completely enthused about whales, and we knew that this was a premier opportunity to see whales, and it certainly has fulfilled that completely. We had hoped to see some humpbacks, and while we initially started just seeing a few coming in and out of the water in their usual behavior, we suddenly saw 3, then 5, then it appears they say 9 together. In an almost spiritual moment, they started to breach, and we had 1, 2, and at one time we had 3 breaching side by side. All you could hear were people screaming, pointing, and you could tell that this was a special moment in everyone's heart. It was truly exciting. Regardless of religion, it's almost spiritual to watch.
Hi, my name is Carlos Navarro, and I am your virtual undersea specialist. I say virtual because I'm sending you this from my home in Monterrey, Mexico. I remember when I was a kid, I was always dreaming of becoming a scuba diver, and that dream came true years later when I arrived to that beautiful corner of Mexico, the Sea of Cortez, the Gulf of California, the same thing. There, I fell in love with the ocean. I really did. Getting in the water in the Sea of Cortez is always marvelous. I cannot really have enough words to describe what I feel. For many, it's sometimes a little bit chilly, it's a little bit murky, but that's great because that's a great murkiness. Remember that in the water, murkiness means productivity. When I go snorkeling there, I always find something interesting. Believe me, I have been there most of my life, and every single time I go snorkeling or scuba diving, I find something new. There is always something going on. If you get close to the reef, you always find little tiny barnacle blennies or gobies. If you're really lucky, you may see some of the bigger creatures around, like a whale shark. In the Sea of Cortez, we have 5 different kinds of sea turtles, 5 out of 7 in the world. For a lot of people, getting in murky waters is a little bit unnerving because they are thinking of sharks, but unfortunately, and this is true for most of the world, sharks have been overfished tremendously, and we don't see sharks very often, which is a shame. But nowadays they have been overfished tremendously, and you need to be lucky to see one. One of those few places where I still have the chance to see sharks is the Cabo Pulmo Marine Reserve, a beautiful tiny marine park in the southern tip of Baja California. It is a little place where shark populations together with reef fish populations have rebounded tremendously after real protection and real enforcement. It is quite remarkable because it was the local fishermen, the local people living there, the ones that decided to stop fishing. And they actually pushed the Mexican government trying to declare a national park, which eventually happened in 1995. Now there is a great place to dive or to snorkel, and reef fish populations have rebounded more than 400%, which is the biggest comeback of marine fish populations anywhere in the world. Let's try to remember all those beautiful places, and let's keep positive, let's keep healthy, and let's keep dreaming. And I told you I was always dreaming of becoming a scuba diver as a kid. Now I think I can keep playing it for a little while more, but I hope that you and I can get a chance soon to go snorkeling again in the Sea of Cortez. Carlos Navarro, be well, be safe, take care.
Hi, my name is Susan Mobus. I'm the wellness specialist aboard the National Geographic Seabird. We're launching our kayaks today off Isla Carmen in a little cove that's tucked away from the stronger winds that we were experiencing in the Sea of Cortez. You know, I tend to think of wellness as balance or harmony, whatever you need in the moment to bring you into balance or harmony. And people naturally seek being outside to do that. It both calms and soothes and also invigorates and energizes, and being out on the water in a kayak can be both experiences. You can be out on your own, seeking some solitude, or in a tandem with a friend, practicing your communication skills, and have it be a more active experience or a more relaxing, reflective experience. It's a real oasis away from people's everyday lives.